It's that time of year again for the new S25 series. And this year, I'm not buying it. And in this video, I'm going to tell you what I'm not buying into as far as what Samsung's selling this year. And that's the features to these phones, which hasn't really changed much in the last 3-4 years. So I'm going to cover the final specs that's been released on these phones, particularly the S25 series. And by the end of this video, you'll know what's changed or what's changing in the upcoming phone compared to the 23 and 24 S series phones. Now, starting with the low man on the totem pole, the S24. The S24 is really not going to change much in the S25. And there's two rumors on that as far as the screen dimensions. Currently on the S24 series, it's a 6.2-inch screen. And they're talking about it going to a 6.3-inch on the S25 series, which would make sense because then it would catch up with Pixel and the other phones that are going to 6.3. However, there's not a lot of confirmation on it. But let's say, for example, they do go to a 6.3-inch. How they are going to accomplish that? Because if you look at this phone, the borders on this phone, well, I need a screen where you can see the borders. The borders on this phone, if you can see there in this image, are very small already. So how in the world are they going to do that without changing the dimensions? Well, they are going to change one dimension. They're going to make it a little bit taller. And again, this is the assumption if they're going to go with a 6.3-inch screen. They're making it a little taller. That will stretch the diagonal just a little bit more, making it a 6.3-inch screen. Now, if they actually do that, it's going to make it look like a taller, more narrow screen, which, as you know, if you watch any of my videos, I don't care for the Z Fold because of that narrow screen. So if they make that look and feel a little narrower, that's not a good thing. So that's why I'm leaning towards them leaving it at a 6.2. Now, as far as the S25 Plus, again, no change in dimensions, pretty much the same. Even the same look all around the edge, rounded corner, squared off side, very similar to that of the iPhone. So they're not going to change there. And of course, we know the Pixel as well. The Pixel has that same rounded, squared off look. So that's just the design for the next year or so. And then the Samsung S25 series Ultra. They are going to round the corners a little more, not quite as much as these, but they are going to round the corners as you see here, which in my view is a good thing because right now it does kind of stab you right there in the palm of the hand when you hold it. So rounding those corners, that'll be a little bit better feeling. And like the S25, there's rumor that it might go to a 6.9-inch screen. But then again, that's not really all that confirmed, so it may still be at that 6.8-inch. Now, of course, both the S25 Ultra and the S25 Plus will have the QHD screens, which is like a 2K, and the S25 standard, again, will have the 1080p. So if you do want the high definition screens, you got to go with the Ultra or the Plus. Now, some of you may actually know this is actually a 23 FE. Now let's talk about some internal specs. Now that's where it's most exciting. You know you're getting the new Snapdragon Elite in all three of these phones, which is great. They're not holding back on the newest Snapdragon chip. These things are going to be lightning fast and considered the fastest chip on the market. That is until Apple comes up with their new A19 chip. Now, along with the faster processor, these will all come out with Android 15 as well as UI 7 on all three models. Now, that software alone is not a good reason to upgrade because all the S24s are going to get that same UI and Android 15. So far, the only thing we've talked about, the reason to upgrade, is the new Elite chip. Now, let's talk about a couple other changes in these phones. Real quick, I want to take a moment and thank you for watching this video, and I appreciate you. And I'd appreciate it even more if you smash that like button down below, because that actually lets me know that you're getting good information and you're enjoying my videos, which encourages me to continue to make great content for you. If you haven't already, go ahead and click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on further news, text, and reviews in the future. Now that's out of the way. Let's get back to the video. So what are the other changes that are coming to these phones? Well, all of them across the board are going to get a minimum of 12 gigabytes of RAM. Last year, the S25 got 8 gigabytes of RAM, which we all know that barely touches its capability to deal with AI. So this is going to be a minimum of 12, and they'll continue to offer up to 16 gigabytes of RAM on the Ultra. Now, the Ultra is also going to get one camera change. It's going to keep the current cameras, which is in the S24 Ultra. Other than the ultra-wide is going to go to a 50 megapixel ultra-wide. So you're going to have the 200 megapixel main, 10 megapixel 3x zoom, a 50 megapixel 5x zoom, and now the 50 megapixel ultra-wide camera. Now the cameras on the S25 and the S25 Plus are not going to change. It's going to be the same thing for the fourth year in a row. The difference is with the processor is going to have better processing of the photos, so the images may change a little bit with the newer version. And of course, with some additional AI enhancements to make the photos look better. But that's, again, is something that I'm not buying this year, is that AI, because they're really going to push that on these phones, is going to be any better than the AI on the previous phones. Because with the new software, the AI will also be pushed out to the other phones. The only difference is with the standard S25 having the 8 gigabytes of RAM, it may not be able to perform as well as the others with the 12 gigs and 16 gigs. Now, another internal is the batteries. They're all going to be the same. You got the 5,000 milliamp battery on this, a 4,800 milliamp battery on the Plus, and a 4,000 milliamp hour on the standard S25. So I'm sure that this year they're going to, again, push on us because of the processor. We're going to get better battery life out of these phones, which is true, but you have to throw into that consideration. How much battery life are you getting on your current phones? You're not going to see a whole lot of change. It might be better to wait till next year or wait for the Z Fold and the Slim, the S25 Slim that's coming out come June. They may put better specs in those two phones. Now, speaking of slim, they are going to slim these down a little bit. They're going to make them just a hair thinner. So along with that, they're each going to become a hair lighter. Now, because they are thinning these things out, make them a little lighter, there is rumor out there on the S25 that they may not come out with Bluetooth for the S Pen. So if you use your current S25 Ultra and you love that Bluetooth connection to the S Pen, use it as a remote control for your camera and other Bluetooth features, you might want to watch closer for that, because if they eliminate the Bluetooth feature, you might want to hang on to your S24 another year. Now, as far as charging goes, they're all going to remain the same. This one will do 25-watt wire charger, and the Ultra and the Plus will do 45-watt charging. Then on wireless, they're all going to be about 15 watts in wireless charging. Although there is rumors that they're upgrading the wireless charging, so they may go to 25 on wireless. But of course, that's not a completely confirmed rumor. Now, they believe that these are going to be released on the 20th of January, so that's coming up pretty quick. And as always, Samsung does really good trade-ins on their phone. And if you act now and pre-register, you can get an additional $50 credit on your next purchase. And I'll include a link down below so you don't miss out on that extra $50 credit. Now, if you're considering holding out for the S25 Slim, you can check it out here. Thanks for hanging out with me. Until next time, God bless.